Hey guys, and welcome to my first episode of Con Aneyda. Today I have the honor and pleasure to have Karla as my first guest ever. We're a little awkward because, honestly, this is brand new. But talking about doing brand new stuff and accomplishing things, I have Karla here to talk about setting goals and accomplishing them. Karla is an owner of her Pretty Committee. Pretty Committee is a lash and facial business, right?
Yes, I do lashes, facials, and lash lifts.
So if you need that, I will be putting down her info. Also, Karla started off at her home, right?
Just like you,
Just like
Mama.
me. I mean, setting goals. Karla started off her business in her room. I remember the first time she brought her idea up to me, I was like, no, dude, like, you're gonna do it in like a few days. Like, I didn't think. And honestly, yeah, in a few days, she was like already signed up for a class, already telling me like, oh, I have this plan, and I have this. And that's something I admire about Karla is that no matter what she puts in her head, like she's gonna do it in not days, maybe hours, and maybe the longest like weeks or a month. But that is why we're here. So I wanted to open up by asking Karla, what do you define a short-term goal? Like, what is to you a short-term goal, and what is a long-term goal?
Short-term goals are anything I can do, like in a day to like a year. And then long-term goals are anything that would take me like 3 to 5 years. Does that make sense? But then sometimes I feel like, is that so drastic? Like a day and a year. But to me, they're both short. You get me? It's like kind of crazy, but I feel like because I have goals on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, that 12 months doesn't sound long, super long.
Because you have those short goals.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, to me, I don't really have that. I'm more of a long-term goal.
Do you feel like you do short-term goals?
Depending on the day.
On the day?
Like, I know.
Okay,
like
tell me one goal you have right now.
Well, like one day I woke up and I said, I want to do a podcast.
But you see, I also don't think that that's a short-term goal for you that you had in a day, because I feel like you've been thinking about this for years.
True. Yeah, you see, I don't even think I know what a short
Yeah.
like. I don't even think
I think it's objective or subjective.
That's why I have her here, because I don't know.
No, I don't know either. Like, I just feel like whatever you feel
at that moment.
in that moment, it's like, what do you want to get done?
So when you think of your short-term goals and long-term goals, do you like write them down? Do you like do a vision board, or are you more like, I'm just gonna wing it and this is what I feel like today, without you knowing that it's a goal of yours?
I think my short-term goals, I just wing it and do it like whatever pops in my head, like I want to do that. Versus anything that takes me longer than 2 years, I have to write it down. Like, I even have an Instagram separate from my personal Instagram, separate from my work Instagram, that's just for my New Year's resolutions. Oh. And I write them down and I list them, and I only post things that contribute to my Instagram. To my resolutions, because then I have to be seeing them. Because I feel like the issue for me with my long-term goals is that if I'm going throughout my year and I'm not thinking about them because their goals are going to take a while, I keep thinking I have time. Oh. So if I don't see them written down somewhere, or somewhere that like, I feel like we're in like social media craze right now. So I feel like it's easier for me to be on Instagram and see my goals like on a daily. And even though they're not short-term, like they're long-term, seeing them will remind me like, oh yeah, I did say that I want to pay off my debt. Even though it's going to take me 2 years, I did say that, like, let me check where I'm at. Or like, I did say that I want to learn how to play chess. Like, I haven't even picked up a chessboard in a month.
And Karla's Instagram for New Year's resolutions is something I look forward to every year. It's
like Spotify Wrapped.
I will wait in my bed and I'm like, what is Karla? Because the majority of the stuff, or some of the stuff, I get dragged into that. Which I don't mind, because it gets me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah.
But I look and I say, what do we have on the list this year? But also that inspired me to do a vision board, and I'm not a big fan of vision boards, because I was like, I have to sit down and think of what I want to do this year, because I don't even know what I want to do today. Yeah. But this year I did, because YouTube channel, it's my first one, the podcast, I was like, I really want to give it my all. So I did do a vision board, and I have it on my lock screen, I have it on my iPad lock screen.
Can I see it?
Oh, you can't. Let me see. It's like my background, like interviewing and it's like interviewing, fitness, like things I want to do. So every time I look at my phone, I'm like, I just this is what.
Yeah, and you see, I feel like that's exactly what I do, but just differently. Like, you did it somewhere visually that you see. Like, I don't know. Like, you have to see it.
Like, you have to, because I see people put posters and they do this, and I'm like, I have too many posters in my room, and I don't want that. Yeah. So it's like, on my phone, I'm on my phone all the time. I'm on my iPad all the time. And so I'm like, at least if I see it, like how you said, I will remember. But her list is a fan favorite. Everyone loves her list. Everyone is.
You know what I want to do this year? And I didn't do it, but I mean, we're still in January. I want to do a bingo card. Because I've tried vision board. And I did it 1 year and it was fun, but like honestly, like I didn't look at it. I didn't like nothing. Like what works for me is the list, having it on that Instagram and seeing it. But like the bingo thing seems cool because you can like hang it up somewhere
and then you're just like,
I did it.
Today I did it. One thing, and I know a lot of Karla's friends, and we have a lot of mutuals. A lot of people describe Karla as a high achiever. And goal oriented. When I brought this up to Karla one time, I was like, yeah, because you're such a high achiever. Because I had always told her about me doing the podcast, and I was like, it's not that I'm shy, it's not that I'm like, it's just, where is the time, when am I going to do it? It's a lot to think about, like, not only putting yourself out there, but like, is this the content that I want to give people? What is the content that I want to do? And I remember one time I told Karla, you're such a high achiever. And she looked at me with so shock, and she was like, no, I'm not. Yeah. And I told her, Karla, you literally had a business that you started in your room. And not only that, her pretty committee, she also did earrings back in COVID.
Oh, yeah.
She did earrings back in COVID. And I remember one time when we worked together at a restaurant, she told me, oh, I want to do earrings. And I was like, oh, okay. Me thinking like a few months from now, a year from now. No. The next few days, she was like, oh, look, I bought the molds and I did this. And I was like, in shock, and I was like, oh, okay. And I remember she'll take pictures with like between our breaks, and like I would edit them for her, and I was like,
oh,
and, like,
yeah.
she just like rushes me, and I'm like, bro, like I thought like in a few months from now. So when I explained to her, I was like, you are a high achiever, like you set these goals, and you don't care if it's like big or little. She's like, I'm gonna do it. And so I asked her, it's like, what comes to mind when people call you that? Like, are you really in shock?
Yeah, I feel like I never thought about it. So I think when I had to think about it, I didn't know how to take it. Because I have another friend who I don't know, was it you that called me ambitious or Isabel?
Isabel called you ambitious one time, and then I brought it up to you.
Okay,
yeah.
So then
shout out to Isabel.
So I have a friend who I've known her since we were in the 4th grade. She's probably my friend that I've had the longest of my life. Like, I'm 27 now. How old are we in the 4th grade? I don't remember, but since then. Like, we've been friends since then. And we were having a conversation just about, I was catching her up on what I'm doing. Like, we do, like, weekly, monthly catch-ups. And she was like, oh, I love that you're so ambitious. And I was like, I kind of got offended because I think my whole life, I've associated the word ambitious with, like, greedy people. They just want more. Like, just, I don't know, like, ugly. And I was like, I don't think I'm ambitious. And she was like, babe. Let's Google the definition of ambitious.
Karla.
No, and she was like explaining to me what it was, and I was like, oh, I think I am. And then the next time I hung out with Aneyda, I brought it up to you, and you were like, yeah, you're like a overachiever. And I think I never viewed myself as that because I just feel like I'm just doing things I want to do.
You don't see them as goals.
I don't see them as like, now I've learned since, and I'm like, they are my goals. These are my goals, like big or little. Like, fun or serious, like, school-wise, work-wise, like, they're just things I want to do. I've never even attached the word goals to them.
And it's crazy because her goals would be as small as, like, going to the aquarium.
Yeah.
And then she'll have a goal that says, go to school. Finish school.
Yeah, it'll be like, go to the aquarium, like, watch all the Disney classics in Spanish, get your AA. Like,
and it's just like...
Yeah. Pay off credit card debt, like just random things. But I feel like you have to do that. Like, I think that's what, like, quote unquote makes like someone a high achiever, that you wanna achieve things in every aspect of your life. I feel like I would never be able to just be focused on school, work, or like finances. Like, I feel like I'd be bored out of my mind. And so I feel like having fun goals that are for like my liking, like that make me happy or make me have fun, or and like enrich my friendships or enrich even my family life. Like, I'll have goals pertaining to, like, one of my goals this year is to hang out more with my dad. I have a great relationship with my dad. But it's just a random goal that I'm like, I want to spend more time with him, like, one-on-one. Mm-hmm. And I feel like the fact that I can hit goals in every different place makes it more fun, at least for me.
Because you get to enjoy it.
Yeah, and it's not just always serious.
It doesn't feel like a task to you.
Yeah.
You're like, I want to, because you want to perfect a relationship.
Yeah. So now I don't get, like, not that I would get offended, but now I don't take it so seriously, or, like, when people say, like, that I'm, like, goal-oriented or being a high achiever. Like, to me, it's just, like, I am.
It's something that you have to embrace instead of, like, I feel like you're fighting it so many times.
Yeah, I'm like, I'm a chill girl. I'm so
you're
chill.
Like, I just want to learn how to play chess. What's so wrong about that? But I think it's beautiful, and I've always admired that about her. And she really always pushed me, like, you have to do your podcast. You have to do your podcast. Yeah. And she was like, start by, like, doing this and, like, do this. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I did. Like, I started doing goals for myself where I was like, I'm going to watch this so-and-so's podcast, and I'm going to see how they do it and how they present their questions and how they have their guests on there. Yeah. And I went from, like, seeing Spanish podcasts to English podcasts, the whole, like, mixture of what I want, even, like, Spotify without visuals. And I was like, okay, like, this is what my goal is. And every day I would work on, like, doing some edits, and I was like, okay, like, how does this, like, I'll send it to her, and I'm like, how does this look, and what is this, and, like, but is there any books that you read, or, like, anything that you watch?
Oh my god, okay.
That help you?
One of my favorite books, and I read it 24/7, like, if I could make the whole world read it, I would. And it's, like, so random. The actor Matthew McConaughey has a book. And it's, like, technically it's a memoir. It's his memoir. And it's called Green Lights. And it's so good. Like, he obviously is talking about his life, but he's just kind of giving his take on, like, how he navigated through his life and the way he sees life. Mm-hmm. And the way he goes through it because of the way he sees it. And that book, I have it in Audible. I have it on my Kindle. I have it in hardcover. Like, you know how everyone has shows that they watch?
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to pay attention. You know what's going on.
It's like, yeah.
It's like your background noise. And then, like, you'll finish, like, the 7th season, like, finale. And then you'll start it right over. Mm-hmm. That's how I feel about Matthew McConaughey's book. I'm always listening to an Audible. I'll pick it up and read it. And, like, my Audible and my Kindle are synced up. So, like, I'm always, like, on the same spot. It's so good. And I feel like... Wait, the question was... Wait.
The question is, like, is there anything you read or watch that help you stay goal oriented?
I think his book helps me because he talks a lot. His book is called Green Lights, and, like, one of the main themes is he says, like, in life, we have green lights everywhere. Mm-hmm. So, obviously, green lights are goals. Like, they're, like, promotions, yeses, like, raises, like, new relationships, just positives.
Yeah.
And then he says that red lights and yellow lights are also green lights, because they're eventually going to turn green. And so you have to kind of focus, like, maybe you have a yellow light right now. Maybe you need to slow down. Maybe you need to change things. Maybe you have a red light and you feel like things are stuck, but it's not that it's stuck. Like, that red light's going to turn green. Like, maybe you just need to redirect. Maybe you need to change the course. Maybe you need to change the plan altogether. But I feel like that book just... But he does it in such a positive way. Like, I feel like that helps me stay on track with my goals. Like, how he turns yellows and reds into greens. Like, it helps me stay motivated, like, and not see negatives.
I like that. Mm-hmm. That's a different perspective of everything. Well, talking about, you were saying, like, staying on track. What drives you to even do, like, those short-term goals and, like, long-term goals? Because everyone has a drive and everyone has motivation. Do you see that in, like, the goals that you take, or is it just, like, natural for you?
I don't think it's natural for me. But I do think the way I was raised, I feel like my mom would always tell me, like, everything we do for ourselves. Mm-hmm. Like, she would always tell me, like, when you grow up and you move out, if you make money, if you don't make money, like, that's for you. I'm not, like, you're not gonna help me, you're not gonna support me, everything's for you. And I feel like that motivates me a lot. Like, everything that I do is for my benefit. Like, no one's gonna look out for me the way I look out for me. And so I feel like that is my key thing. Like, I don't know, I just feel like...
Because talking about, like, the way we were raised, like, my mom and dad implemented in the three of us that if you finish your homework or if you get, like, a good grade, like, you're rewarded with X, Y, and Z. Like, we would, end of the year, if we all did good, we were taken to, like, Chuck E. Cheese. So for me, a goal is hand in hand with what is my reward at the end of the goal.
Okay, yeah.
So like, what is it that drives you?
Okay, then yeah. So, yes, like more. So like it sounds kind of vain, but it's like for me. I'm doing it for me. Like
Well, I don't think
I'm getting
vain.
that satisfaction of like I learned how to do this for me, or like I did this for me, and like I think it's that, and especially that's just the way I was raised. Like my mom was very like, whatever you do, you need to do it to your fullest capacity.
Yeah.
Like even if it's as small as like the way I want to look in a day. If you want to look good, then go all out. Straighten your hair, do your makeup, pick out an outfit, like not just like walk out the house. So if my goal was to start lashing, I'm gonna go as much as I can in that moment, but I'm gonna go as hard as I can. Like if whatever financially I can do, I'm gonna do it. Whatever like energy wise I can do, I'm gonna do it. So I feel like just knowing that I'm going to the fullest for myself is rewarding.
Do you feel like a lot of, not people, but like say like companies or companies don't give them the full out? Because I feel like I saw Karla plan out Pretty Committee. I saw her like every day like thinking, what if I do this, what if I do that? Do you think a lot of things now are like fast paced and don't have that like originality anymore? Or do you think it's just like they just want to put something out there and they just put it out?
Like, what do you mean by companies? They just...
Well, not companies, or like, okay, say for instance, let's like use me. Like, I obviously was thinking about this for a lot of like years, and you know that, and I would mention it to her, and then I would like put it away, and then I was like, I just don't feel comfortable, because I really wanted to put something out there that was, like, it like was content-wise and everything, compared to like, not other influencers or anything like that, but like, do you think a lot of things are just not thought out and just put out there?
I don't think that that's the case. I think that there's a lot of comparison. And I think that steals a lot from like people wanting to do things or maybe not doing it to their fullest potential because they're just comparing it like for example, when I started lashing, I was lashing in my room. So for me, in that point in time, that was my most potential. And so I wouldn't think that that's less than a girl who probably has a studio, has like booked out clientele for the month or whatever. Like, so I feel like it's not that people are not giving or doing as much as they can. Maybe it's just they're comparing it to other things. So I think it's just more like focusing on your own path. So I think that's what also drives me. Like, I'm doing the best for me, whatever I can do at the moment. So it's just like not compare. I think people should never compare like to other things because you start at different places. And even if I started a podcast at the same time as you, it would be so different. Yeah. Because whatever, you might have more time to do it. I might have more time to do it. You might have better people to talk to. I might, so it's just, I don't think it's that people are putting less time into things. It's just everyone's different, I feel.
That's a good answer. I also think that social media has a lot to affect to do that.
Like how?
Like if you post something and then like someone has a comment that's like, oh, well, I saw X, Y, and Z, they do this, and it was like better.
Yeah.
Like.
But then again, it goes back to your you're comparing.
I think
like,
the best competition is like yourself.
Yourself, always.
Like 100%.
Always. I had a teacher in beauty school. I wasn't a fan of hers.
Karla's like an onion, guys. Every layer is something. You learn something different about Karla every time she talks. She's an onion. I bet you guys didn't know she went to beauty school.
I went to beauty school, mama. I got licensed. I'm a licensed esthetician. Please don't call.
Follow that Pretty Committee.
Don't call the governor. Anyways, I had a teacher in my beauty school, and we had to like do facials. We would get booked for facials at school because we had to clock in like hours or whatever. And there was a girl, she would be booked like crazy. She was like, not great, but like we start cycles every month. She was like 2 cycles above me, and she would get booked like crazy. Good for her. I was happy for her. Like, I never see people as competition. Like, I never do. And not in a like, I'm the shit, but just like, everyone's in their own lane. Everyone's doing their own journey. And I remember like when I started kind of getting more into my schoolwork, like deeper into the semester, she was like, oh, you're starting to get booked a lot. And she was like, well, you're gonna have to try a little harder if you want to be X, Y, like whatever her name was. And I remember like it rubbed me the wrong way, and I turned to her and I was like, I don't want to say her name. I was like, Miss, whatever. I was like, I don't compete like with anyone. Like the only person I compete with is myself, and I have more clients this month than I did last month. So it's like, I'm not worried about how many she has, and not even to put her down, but it's just like, you don't need to pick at her to try to lift me up, and I don't need to like compare myself to her. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. It's just everyone's at different places in their lives doing different things.
We talked about vision boards, and we talked about like what you read or what like you listen to. Is there a process that you do? Like the minute you wake up, like do you say, oh, okay, I'm gonna get ready and I'm gonna go ahead and conquer the world? Like is there something that you think of or like that helps you also? Because I'm a huge believer of look good, feel good. Mm-hmm. If I want to do something, I tell myself, okay, I want to look good so I can like do, even if it's going to work and saying, okay, I have all these tasks, mm-hmm. I'm gonna like look good so that I feel good. Because I feel like if I go with the mentality of like, I don't want to go to work, or I don't do any, like I don't want to accomplish anything, because I even have goals at work, and it even starts with like the minute I wake up, brush my teeth, whatever, I play a novela, because that's what's gonna help me. Mm-hmm. And then on my way to work, I listen to certain music, because that's what puts me in a mood, and I'm like, okay, this is how I'm gonna. Yeah. Is there anything you do similar to that, or is it like?
On a smaller scale, like for a daily or weekly basis, I feel like what gets me through my weeks is looking forward to like my fun moments. Mm-hmm. So for me, like one of my fun moments is like listening to music. So I can listen to music in my car on my way anywhere, or when I'm lashing, like I could have whatever music I want. And then as much as like I stay busy with work, I love to go out with my friends. I love hanging out with my friends. So I feel like I need to make sure that I have at least some sort of interaction almost every day, which I feel like sounds crazy, but like every day, even if it's that small, it's like I'm going to FaceTime my friend for 10 minutes. I'm going to like hang out. Like even I texted you like, can we get coffee after? Like
Karla sends me a TikTok, Karla sends me, and that's our interaction of the day.
Yeah, like I need to have like connection with my friends. I feel like a driving force for me like is my friends. I love my friends. They keep me so positive. They keep me well-rounded. But like for me, it starts in the beginning of the month. Mm-hmm. So when I do my schedule for lashing or for facials or whatever, I plan my whole month out. So if I don't feel like my month is planned out, I feel like every week I'm like waking up like, what do I have to do today? I don't like feeling like that. Like how you're saying like, what, I gotta get things done today. I like to know my month in advance. And I know it sounds like, damn, like fuck, like a whole month in advance, but I need to know, like that way I know, like okay, first, like for example, January, I'm like, first week is my best friend's birthday, so I know I have to worry about that, so I plan all my appointments around that, and then I'll know like that weekend is busy, so I have to prep for the week on Saturday or whatever. So I think for me it's just being prepared in advance, not just like this morning I woke up and I do this week. No, I need to be really prepared, like month 30 days in advance, be prepared, or I don't feel comfortable.
I've seen her calendar.
Yeah,
I've seen her calendar.
I love my calendar.
I have to be like, well, where do I... Karla's not the type you could be like, oh, let's go get this. Yeah. Like in the middle of the day, because Karla's like, well, I'm seeing like 3 people at this time slot and I could only fit them. And it's not like business wise, it's like her friends. And she's like, I'm like, oh, I haven't seen them in months. Or she'll be like, well, I have like all these like appointments. And it's always been like this way before she started Pretty Committee. Like I couldn't just be like, hey, I want to go get like like a coffee. Do you want to go? And she's like, well, no, I can't. And I'm like, but I have seen her calendar. It is kind of scary if you don't know how to read it. But
no, but I also feel like I think I don't prepare on a daily basis. Like it really is like there's that like little quote like if you fail to prepare, you're preparing to fail. So I feel like I have a busy month, but I'm never stressed out about it. I'm never stressed out. Like I know I have 10 social events in a month, and I know I take like anywhere between like 5 to 6 clients on a weekend, and then like 2 to 3 on a weekday. And I don't get stressed out because I prep for my month the month before. So as long as I'm prepped, I'm fine. And I don't think I've had a month where I'm not prepped in like 2 years at least. Like I know what's going on.
I know we mentioned like reading books, but do you have anything like white noise?
White noise is like music, or what is that?
Well, not necessarily. Like, I would watch, like, when because I'm at work, I do have a majority of my goals there.
Mm-hmm.
Not that I don't have goals personally, but at work, I'm almost always there. So I set goals for each day or, like, the month I want to do X, Y, and Z. Mm-hmm. I have White Noise, like, a TV show. That makes me feel like, for some reason, it's telling my brain, like, you got this.
Yeah.
My White Noise show is Golden Girls.
I've never seen that show.
Of course. It's for me, it's like very comfort for me.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It's like, it has comedy. It has not much drama, but it's very comical for me. So I like watching comedy, but I know every episode, and like I just put it on there.
Yeah.
And I just start working, and like I don't have to listen to music, or I'll put like The Parent Trap.
Okay.
And like I just put it on there, and like I just go with the day. Even if I'm here at home, like I'll put The Parent Trap and like, okay, let me like plan things out for the podcast. Let me do this. Yeah. Like that's my white noise. Do you have anything similar to that?
Yeah, I feel like I have two different shows that are my white noises, but it just depends on my mood. Like I feel like my go-to default is Sex and the City. Mm-hmm. I will do anything while Sex and the City is playing. I love having it in the background. But if I feel like I'm not feeling too hot, or like I have a lot of things to get done, or like...
Imagine nothing recorded. At least I have the audio.
I have a lot of things to get done, or like I feel not like I'm struggling, but I'm like, oh my god, I'm kind of tense this week. I will put Ted Lasso because it's
good show.
Everyone should watch that show.
She put me on that show, and it's kind of crazy because it kind of goes with what we're talking about.
Yeah, that man
beautiful show.
Is a beautiful person.
Show. My favorite quote is the goldfish one. Mm-hmm. I even tell my boss at work, like she be having like stressful days, and I'm like, no, like, and I like printed it out for her, and I put it on her desktop, and I was like, when you feel like very Ted Lasso moment, I loved it, and I tell her like whenever you feel like down or like stressed, like just look at it. I don't want to misquote it, but it's like be a goldfish, and like
because he asked the player, like, do you know what's animal with the shortest memory? And he's like, no, and he's like, it's a goldfish, because like
you just like
however many seconds pass and the goldfish's memory is like erased, and like, it's just like let everything just kind of roll off of you. Like
that is a beautiful show.
No, so that one, and I know it like the back of my hand too. So even though it's in the background, sometimes I just want to be hearing those, like, because he's so positive. That coach is so positive. He loves like helping those around him and like bringing things out of them that they didn't know they had, and like it's just a nice show. So if I feel like I need white noise with substance, I put Ted Lasso. If I just need white noise because I'm already my rhythm of the week or my rhythm of the day, Sex and the City.
That's a good show too. Not very much like what we have here, what we're talking about, but it's a good show too. Talking about shows and like media, is there any like characters, or it doesn't even have to be like a character or like someone, an artist or anything like that, that you come to mind that you look at them and like, hey, like they remind me of myself in terms of like, we know she's ambitious, we know she's a goal oriented, like she's an entrepreneur. Like, is there anything that you see in them and you're like, oh wow, like I see myself?
Yeah.
Share with the class.
Let me think.
Share with the class. That's like a very like, I feel it's a loaded question.
No, it is, because I feel like I don't know, like, because I also feel like I watch a lot of shows and movies, and like I like a lot of shows and movies, but it's never like, oh, I like them because I feel like I'm them, I relate to them. So I feel like I have to really think.
It's a loaded question. I only ask that because I feel not like I want people to be like, oh, this is Karla.
Yeah.
Because I always explain to her, I'm like, oh, you guys don't even know what you're in. But I watch like shows, and I watch like a lot of TV shows and movies, and I'm like, oh, like they like remind me of myself. Like,
give me one of yours so I can kind of
because Karla knows this one already. I love Charlotte.
Oh yeah, Charlotte, you are.
I love Charlotte. Like, there's things of me in Charlotte that I'm like, oh my god, like
that's your twin.
That's me. Like, she's my twin. And obviously, there's moments where I'm like, no, like I would.
That's not my Charlotte.
I'm not Charlotte. But when like I talk to people and I'm like, because when you meet someone, you're like, you're just meeting their first layer.
Yeah.
I think it's
how
like
they present.
How very like moon, sun, rising, but it's like who you like. I'm not gonna show somebody like my full Aneyda. like, because I'm very guarded and everything. So sometimes I'm like, oh, well, do you know, like, this character? Like, this is who I feel like sometimes.
Wait, I have a random question for you. You could cut it out. You know how you said, like, oh, when I meet people, I don't give them my full Aneyda? Mm-hmm. Do you think you do that on purpose?
Yes, I think I do that on purpose, but that didn't start happening until I went to college and I'm a communications major. Mm-hmm. And until, for some reason, I don't know why, communications classes scared me from giving people, like, my authentic self. And if there's any comm majors who agree with that or disagree, let me know. Because she's like, no.
I disagree. Because I feel like I don't give, like, every layer of myself when I first meet people, but not on purpose. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like, as much as, like, I know you think this of me and I think it of myself too, like, I'm super hardworking, I'm super oriented. Mm-hmm. Like, my father is the biggest goofball, like, I've ever met. I love my dad's personality. He's a big jokester, and I feel like I'm like him in that sense. So I feel like when I meet people, I'm always being, like, very extroverted, very almost obnoxious, and, like, very loud. And, like, so I feel like people will think that of me. And then, like, when we become better friends, or they get to know me and they see, like, that I like to work hard, that I have goals, and that I have different interests, and they're, like, shocked. So I feel like sometimes I kind of will take, not offense to it, but I'm like, well, like, you didn't think there was more to me than just, like, certain things. So that's why I'm like, do you feel like you do that on purpose? Because I don't feel like I do it on purpose.
I don't think I do it on purpose. And a perfect example is, like, when Karla and I first became, like, actual, like, friends, mm-hmm. she invited me to her birthday. And it was, like, a picnic at, I think it was, like, El Dorado Park. And Karla has a variety of friends. And I love that because it shows you, like, her different layers. That I always tell her, like, I know it's a horrible comparison, but I always compare Karla to an onion. Like, I just always do. Because it's, like, every time I see her, it's, like the whole, I'm going to learn how to play chess. I was like, what? I was like, well, okay. And I remember going in, and if you are my friend and if you know me and for my family member, you know, once you get to know me, it's like I can't stop talking. Or I'm just like, you learn that I'm the biggest nerd. You learn that I'm like, like, I'm very, like, even though people are like, you're very confident, behind closed doors, I'm like, Karla, you think I should do that? Like, and, like, people don't know that I asked, like, 20 other people before, like, I did something, like, doing this, and I was like, do you think people will like it? Like, do you genuinely think, even though people, and not, like, to, like, boast or anything, like,
you have a great support system.
Yeah, and people have always told me, like, why don't you do a show? Like, why don't you do a channel? And I'm like, really? Like, I think you just tell me because you're my friends. But anyways, I remember sitting down in that picnic table, and a lot of them are, like, I know them, or I went to, like, high school with them, but I never spoke with them and, like, generally had a conversation. So I remember, like, sitting back and just, like, observing. And I'm a huge observer. I'm a huge observer in the fact, like, when I go and meet someone, I want to, like, set the vibe. And I'm like, do I give them this side of me, or do I give them, like, authentic me? Mm-hmm. And I think because, I don't know, like, just after I took communications class, I'm like, now I'm a huge observer that I forget that people are observing me.
Yeah.
If that even makes sense. Like,
no, it does make sense.
Anyone that knows me, like, I will have a huge like, people can talk to other people and be like, oh, Aneyda's crazy. And, like, my friend told her boyfriend before, like, he even met me, like, oh, it's just Aneyda. Like, you're going to have fun with her. Like, she's crazy and, like, all this stuff. When I met him, I was very, like, oh, hi. Like, very, like,
very demure,
very shy. I was like, hi. And my friend pulls me to the side. She's like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, well, Mama, I'm not gonna, like, let me read him first.
Yeah, and then
let me, like, see. And I forget that people are observing me. Mm-hmm. That's my whole, because I forgot that her friends were observing me.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean when I say, like, I don't give them my authentic self unless I know, like, okay, like.
Yeah. But I also feel like having those different versions of yourself is good. And I feel like I think I said earlier, like, my friends are, like, a big driving force for me. I like having as many friends as I can make, like, genuine friendships, because I feel that watching all my friends achieve their goals and their own lives, because they have completely different interests than me, helps me expand my horizon. Maybe I would want to achieve that too. And I feel that when you have people around you, genuine people that you care about, and you don't see them with, like envidia. Yeah. Like, you see them and you're like, oh my God, they did it. I like to see people do things, because instead of feeling like, how did they do it? I feel like, oh my God, if they did it, I could probably do it. They could probably help me do it. They can give me advice on how to do it. So I think having those different versions of yourself is important to achieving all your goals. And like having different goals, because imagine if you only had goals for work or you only had goals for school. I would kill myself. I would kill myself. No, like.
And that's what I mean, like how we mentioned earlier, like her resolution list is like, I'm gonna clip a picture and show them like what it is.
Yeah.
It's like not even like, it's not even go to the gym or like visit here and there. It's like very specific, like that are gonna nurture like her mind and her soul.
No, I think
it's very like,
I think like there's 3 in a row that are like learn how to play chess and volunteer at the aquarium and learn how to like something silly. I think it was like something like, I think it was like write 3 essays and then it'll be like therapy. Like, oh damn.
she's gonna write. And that's what I mean. And I think it's beautiful, like how she even like in hours she'd be like, oh, I looked up already how to volunteer at the aquarium. Mm-hmm. And that's what I always admire about her. And I said it earlier. It's like if she sets a goal, no matter what, she's gonna do it. And it could take the whole year, and it could probably like roll over, which is rare. Roll over to the next year.
No, not that it's rare. It's not rare actually, because I've had one of the same resolutions for 3 years, and I finally did it. Like that one was hard.
She's admitting it, guys.
Yeah. No, yeah. But I also feel that like when you really want to do something, you should just do it like full force and it. Like I don't know. I think it does go back. That goes back to my mom. Like there shouldn't be excuses. Like if you're here and you want to be here, you just need to get there. Mm-hmm. Whatever it is that you need to do, figure it out and do it. Like, and sometimes I remember when I was maybe like in middle school, I would think my mom was being kind of aggressive with me. Like, I can't do it. Like, I don't know how to do it. She's like, what do you mean? Like, figure out what the steps are and do it. And I think I've carried that into my adult life from like, if it's as simple as like, I want to get coffee with you today, there's going to be nothing that stops me. Like, I don't have a car, you have a car, let's go. Or like, you don't have money, I have money, let's go. Like, nothing that, if you really want to go, whatever pops up, you should want it bad enough to find a solution to get your goal done, I feel. Or else you don't want that goal that bad. Big or small.
Now imagine her telling me that for the podcast.
No, because you know what? You know what? Remember when you were like, I want to start a hobby. And I said, great, because a lot of my goals are hobby oriented. Because I think it makes me happier, it makes me more
I learned
efficient.
That day what a hobby was.
Yeah, she said, I'm going to get a second job. I said, that is not a hobby, babe. That is not a hobby.
I don't know. It's like that moment when you didn't know you were a high achiever. Mm-hmm. I didn't know what a hobby was. Because in my head, I've always been like nonstop. Like in high school, I was like AP student. Mm-hmm. I was in cheer. I was in ASB. Like I did like clubs. And in my head, a hobby for me was always like, had some kind of
I was going to say, I think you just blurred it for you going into your adult life. Uh-huh. That like the things you found fun technically were like extra credit things. Yeah. You would get an extracurricular point, whatever. So I think you didn't know how to translate that.
When she told me that, I was like, whoa, I didn't know. Yeah. Like even like, I remember when I came out of high school, I was like, a hobby for me was working at the dance studio. And a
hobby for me is never working.
And when we had that conversation, she said to me, list a hobby then. And I was like, I don't know what a hobby is. I was always like,
tell me 2 hobbies that you like to do right now.
I like to watch classic movies. Okay. Like full on black and white. Okay. And another hobby is like I collect records.
There you go.
I learned then
what a hobby
is. That I did have hobbies. Yeah. Didn't know how to distinct them from work and hobbies. But going back to like the whole podcasting, I remember I would tell her like, oh, I want to do a podcast, but like, because I see all these like other podcasts and they have like the perfect camera and the perfect mics and and I was like, well, Karla,
I think I would get on you about that.
No, she would like, I would not bring it up.
Okay, do it.
It's like when your mom tells you like, ¿Ya limpiaste el cuarto? ¿Ya limpiaste la casa? And like, I would avoid Karla. Like, I wouldn't want to talk to her or see her because I was like, she's going to bring it up somehow. And like, I don't know what to tell her. Like, I don't know what to say.
Because, and I've told you this too, like, those are excuses.
Yes. So
Like,
going back to what she
I
said,
remember a specific conversation we had, and you were like, I want to start my podcast. I'm like, so why don't you? You're like, I don't have a camera. You have an iPhone.
I was like,
there's people in like places like third world countries that they wish they could have an iPhone to record themselves. Like,
and she got me there.
Record yourself. Like, people start. Some of the biggest things have started like just doing it. It's just starting. Like that stupid thing people say about the gym, like showing up is the hardest thing. It is though. Like just starting is the hardest thing. I remember when I started lashing and I was in my room, I would hate it. I hated, like, I have a rowdy dog. Like, I live with my brother and my dad. I'm like, I hated
Shout out to Coco.
I hated bringing people over because I'd be like, oh my, it's so embarrassing. But then I would tell myself, like, it's not embarrassing. Like, it's what I want to do. It's how I'm going to make my money. And I know girls who were lashing longer than me, and they would message me like, oh, we're so happy for you or whatever, because I wasn't even lashing for a full year before I left my room and got a studio, because I was like, I need to do it. So I feel like the faster you start, the harder you want it, like the more progress you're going to make. And not because it's like, it's going to be handed to you, but just, I don't know. I really believe in the universe. Like, it's going to conspire if you want something. Like, if you're trying, you're putting out good energy, I think the world will reward you. I just think that. Matthew McConaughey in his Green Lights book says that. It's my favorite
quote.
This is
not sponsored.
This is not sponsored by Matthew McConaughey
at all.
But in his book, he has a thing, and I remember when I first read it, I reread it like 20 times. He says, I truly believe that the world is conspiring in my favor. So I feel like people will be like, everyone's out to get me, like the world's conspiring against me. And I love that he said it. So he used, I feel like conspiring has such a negative connotation, and he turned it into such a positive. Like, the universe is literally conspiring in my favor. And I feel like I truly try to like think that and believe that. And you just, I don't know, I just think it's like true. You work, if you want something, you're working, you're doing good things. I don't see why things don't work out.
Beautifully said.
In my opinion.
I want to...
Cada quien.
Escuchamos y no juzgamos.
No.
Name 3 figures in pop culture, film, music, social media that represent you. And because she struggled, it doesn't have to be 3.
I could do 3.
A few minutes ago, she said she couldn't.
I just needed time to think.
But enlighten us.
Okay. I wouldn't say maybe not these 3 wouldn't represent me, but at least
give like an... like
in some way I admire. Like, I love Miss Miley Cyrus. I love her. It's the climb. It's the climb. Like, I feel like she's someone who just is truly and authentically herself. I feel like she marches to the beat of her own drum. Mm-hmm. And I've always loved her. I've always stood by her side. Like, I was never mad at her. And I don't know, I just think she's beautiful inside and out. I think she stands for what she believes in. And I feel that that's another thing that's helped me stay true to my goals. And I'll credit this to my brother. My brother's very strong in his morals. So it's like, he doesn't care if something's cool or not. Like, if it's the right thing, it's the right thing. And like, if you just really stand by what your beliefs, like truly, I think it helps you get things done. And I think Miley's someone like that. Whether her goals are the goals that someone else will have, she stays true to what she thinks. Like, she never sways. Like, she believes in this, she believes in that. And I like that about her. And I honestly, her song, The Climb, it gets me through it, dude. It gets me through it. Like, it does. Because as much as it's rewarding to finish goals or accomplish them big or small, it's so fun, like, to get there, like, to do it. Like, tell me you didn't have fun planning all this.
It's a bit scary, but I did.
You did have fun. It's
like,
fun.
Setting up, I was like, even though it was Karla, and I love Karla, and I'm so comfortable with Karla, like, setting up, I was like, oh my God, like, what if it doesn't go? But it was so much fun to see. Like, I had, like, told a few people about it, bought some stuff, and then, like, I'm like, shoot, now I really have to upload this. Because if I don't upload this, she will sue me for time wasted.
There's nothing I value more than money and
she
time.
asked me before getting here, do I get paid? And I said,
no. I said,
no. Yes, she did. She said, am I getting paid for this appearance? And I said, in the future.
No, I didn't.
Yes, I will pull up the receipt.
Don't lie to your watchers.
My audience.
Your audience.
Thank you.
What are you going to call your fan base? If you get one.
Oh, I haven't thought about that. I haven't thought about that.
And like,
what did they call, like, there's Beliebers? What was, like, Ariana Grande? Like, Rihanna has was like the army or something like that?
I don't know what Rihanna has.
Karla's fan base is called the cult. It's like a cult.
No, they're not my fan base. This is my friends.
No, it's a
These
cult.
are my friends.
I'm not in that cult.
Mama, you're the president of that club.
I am the what is it? Like, I am the one that started. I am legendary.
Yeah.
I have a legacy. No, what would I call them? I don't know. You guys have any ideas? Comment
down below.
Comment down below. Oh, that's so weird to say. Comment down below. What is my fan base?
I want something that goes with the Terminator and Aneyda. Like, put those words together. The Aneydators or something like that.
Oh.
Something like that. Something hardcore.
What? Hardcore.
Anyways, someone that I love.
Miley.
Yes, I love. Super random. Harry Potter.
Oh.
I love him. I love him.
The boy who lived. I don't know.
But it's because, you know what? So one of my resolutions last year.
I can see that though.
One of my resolutions last year was to read the Harry Potter books. Because I love the movies. I could close my eyes and do the whole every 8 movies, like scene for scene. But I've never read the books. And I know, obviously, I'm a big book girl. I know the books are going to be way better than like the movies, and I love them. So I'm like, can't wait. And there's like a part in the book where like he's always going through things, like even as a little boy, but just he'll say like, I wish my parents were here to ask them. And I relate to that because like my mom passed away, and I'm always thinking like the only person's opinion I ever cared about is my mom. So like I will always think like I wish my parents were here, or not my parents, my mom was here to ask her like what she thinks or get her opinion. And he is almost forced to, rely on like his friends. And I think Harry Potter is so lucky to have like such an amazing support group. And I feel the same way. Like I have an amazing dad, amazing brother, like so many girlfriends, amazing friends, like my mom's sisters, like, so I always, now that I'm reading the book, I'm seeing that side to Harry Potter.
You don't see that he has a cult like you do?
No.
Because I think when she told me Harry Potter, I said, Jess, because he has a cult.
I don't think I have a cult. I don't think he has either. I think he has an amazing support system. And
a lot of cult leaders have that.
But yeah, so I like that about him. And I feel like he just, obviously I'm like, we're not in a wizarding world and I'm not fighting this evil force. But I feel like he just takes whatever comes at him. And he seeks like advice and support from his friends and family. And I feel like my goals, big or small, like I can go to my friends and family. And I don't, as much as I say like I do it for me and like I'm happy I did it for me, I could never do any of my goals without the support system I've had. I'm super lucky. So I feel like it's important to build around yourself a good base where you can learn from, lean on, whatever it may be. And so that's what I like about Harry Potter. He has that. He does.
Beautiful.
Yes or no?
The boy who lived
has come to die. And then, okay, this one. I know you're saying me to say one and I'm not going to say it. But this other one. Have you ever seen the Sonic movies? Yes or no? Have you ever seen the Sonic movies?
I've only seen one.
The Sonic movies are some of the best movies have ever graced this earth. I'm not kidding. One of the best.
I believe you.
So good. So the third Sonic just came out. It was so good. It's so beautiful. It has so many beautiful themes. I know it's a silly kid movie, but it has such beautiful themes. And I relate to Sonic so much. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding.
I'm so sorry.
No, I'm not kidding, dude.
Okay, let's hear it.
Let's hear it. Okay. So one of the main themes in the Sonic movie 3, now playing everywhere.
Not sponsored. She keeps name dropping things. Please.
I think I'm realizing like I have a lot of like also from media that guides me.
Once again, an onion.
Okay.
Put an onion on your.
So one of the main themes in the new Sonic movie is like how someone who's raised on love and support versus someone who's not raised on love and support, like total opposite, and how they come at like life and situations, how they see them, how they handle them, how they process things. And so Sonic was raised by like this super loving female owl, and like Shadow gets introduced in Sonic. This sounds ridiculous, but
she's dissecting Sonic 3. in a very
Shadow
beautiful way.
Shadow gets introduced in Sonic 3, and he had the total opposite of that. Like, he was used in his childhood, like, to, like, research his abilities, whatever. Like, they take everything, whatever. So when they are, like, come and, like, are beefing, they see things so differently. And I feel like I relate to the way Sonic was brought up. I know, like, it's not that it's common, but there's people who didn't have good relationships with their parents, didn't have good support systems, still don't to this day, whatever. I grew up in such a loving household, very supportive, and I think it affected the way I see things. I rarely choose to look at the negative. And when I was watching the Sonic movie, I'm like, he's literally like that. Like, he was literally like, he's looking at Shadow like, dude, why are you upset? Like, we can work together. Like, what's going on? And I relate to him. And then another thing another theme in the movie is about how, like, the family you're born with, like, it's, like, beautiful or whatever, but also placing value on the family you choose. And I value my friendship so much. And I feel like not a lot of people, but I've met a lot of people who, if they don't have a really great relationship with their family, they place so much value on friendships. And it's, like, because of that. Versus I just have the benefit of both. Like, I had a great relationship with my family, but I also have such strong connections with my friends. Like, amazing. And that's what Sonic does. He, like, became friends with the actor from 27 Dresses. I know you know his name.
From 27 what?
27 Dresses.
Oh, the one that she gets married to?
Yeah. James.
Let's look it up.
James Marsden, I think.
That's his name?
I think so. So, like, he meets him in, like, the first movie, and they become, like, that's basically his family now, James Marsden and his wife in the movie or whatever. And so, like, they talk a lot about that in the movie too, like, how the family you choose, like, is super important too, because you're, like, choosing to be there for each other. And another theme in the movie is that they kind of instill into Sonic, like, doing the right thing is, like, important. And as much as, like, I feel like I do like to have fun or whatever, I do, how I talked to my brother earlier, I do try to always do the right thing. Like, she does. I really do try to do the right thing, because I feel that if you do things with good intentions, like, that's all that matters. Like,
wow.
Honestly. Sonic is a really good movie. I was watching it and I was like, he's me and I'm him. So
like, to wrap up, she has Miley Cyrus. She said, what do we say?
Harry Potter.
And Sonic.
Sonic the Hedgehog. Love him. Well-rounded, if you ask me.
An onion. A literal onion. In all seriousness, I want to say thank you, Karla, for taking time out of her busy day and talking to us about not only goals, Sonic,
Harry Potter,
Matthew McConaughey's book, which I might read it.
Have you read it?
No. I'm gonna read it. I read it.
Didn't I gift it to you? No.
Wrong friend.
Okay.
But
yeah,
I want to say thank you so much. And I hope you guys really take in what Karla said, because I do almost every day. Am I reminded? She's like my little Yoda, where I said, what would Karla do? And yeah, thank you so much for watching our first episode. Well, my first episode.
Yeah, you're our first episode.
She's my creative director.
That doesn't get paid.
Yet. But thank y'all.